You may be wondering, as a South Asian, why should I support the Black Lives Matter movement? Well, it's because our Black brothers and sisters have paved the way for us to have a pathway in this country. If you are South Asian and your family immigrated here after 1965, you owe it to the civil rights movement. The US has historically restricted immigration in the name of white supremacy. In the 1920s, immigration from non-white countries was restricted via the national origins formula, whose explicit purpose was to preserve the ideal of America, Northwestern European homogeneity. While a small number of immigrants from India first arrived in the US during the early 19th century, primarily as low-skilled farm laborers, non-white immigrants were generally not allowed citizenship. The civil rights movement brought attention to racial oppression in the United States, including immigration policy. Racially motivated policies were still in effect well into the 1960s. The clearly discriminatory policies were seen as an embarrassment in the international community. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, also known as the Hart-Celler Act, opened up immigration to all Asian countries. The law was not an explicit part of civil rights legislative platforms in the late 60s. It was actually not meant to upend the ethnic composition of the United States, but it was passed in the backdrop of other civil rights legislation due to pressure from the movement to de-racialize American policies. The majority of Desi Americans in the United States now are here due to the provisions of the Hart-Celler Act. In 1960, just 12,000 Indian immigrants lived in the United States, representing less than 0.5% of the 9.7 million overall immigrant population. In recent decades, the population has grown substantially, with 2.4 million Indian immigrants residing in the United States as of 2015. Getting rid of restrictive quotas and allowing family-based immigration has fundamentally changed the population of the United States. The vast majority of Desi Americans can trace their family's immigration to consequences of this legislation. So, the next time you start having difficult conversations with friends and family members about the uprising and race, think about how these movements have impacted our shared experience as immigrants in the United States.